Okay guys, this is the first of our application series for the beginner series, and we are going to start by applying the hood of this Audi. So this video is all about just the hood, and then we're going to go to the doors, the roofs, and some other things so you can get the basic. Instead of just saying, oh, here's how you apply, every panel is a little different. So I'm going to do a video for each style of panel on this particular car, and then in the future we'll have a lot more cars, different variety of cars. But no matter what the car is, we're first going to start off with our tack cloth. A tack cloth can be used over and over again. You can get a lot of vehicles out of one tack cloth, so don't think it's one per vehicle. And I'm using really light touch here. And again, this tack cloth is designed to just pick up the dust. And you can see there's dust all over this vehicle because it's been sitting here, and no matter how clean your shop is or your space is, there's dust in the air everywhere. Some cities and towns and places have more than others, so kind of just whatever you got to work with. Either way, a tack cloth is a really good reminder. And instead of tack clothing the whole car at once, we're going to tack cloth each panel just before we apply it. So one key thing to remember as I finish out this tack cloth is I always set my tack cloth right by the next panel I'm going to be applying. And that's because I've forgotten to tack cloth panels in the past. And so now I have a really good system for not forgetting. And that's just part of the game. So I'm going to take and load my applicator now. We're going to load 1 ounce. So I'm going to go from 6 ounces down to about 5 or a little more than 5 ounces. And this is something that beginners seem to have a hard time with, but we're never squirting the ReGloss out of the bottle. We're giving just gentle presses, gentle pressure. And I usually just train people on 3 lines: once, center, third. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys here if you can get in tight on that. So I'm giving a light squeeze on the bottle to get the liquid out. And you can see how I'm just doing, and because it's a liquid, it's going to disperse itself. And then the same thing here, 1, and I like to do 2. And then I count this one as center. 1 more. And I don't even need to look. I've done this so many times that I know what about is an ounce. And that's just a little bit less than an ounce. So I'll do a little bit more on this face and a little bit more on this face. It's really key, and I'm going to remind this in multiple videos as we move, but we want to have our applicator with as much product in it as we can up to the point where we get drips. Now, one thing to remember in this, let's start talking specifically about this hood. The places that I'm most likely to have a drip are this body line, this side of the body line. And so I could easily have a drip here if I'm just taking my product and running it over like that. So I'm going to show you guys how to properly do this. And essentially we're going to section these areas off. So I'm going to look at this side, on the bottom side of this body line, as a section. And then I'm going to get to the top here and start that as a new section, and then same thing over there. Another key thing is get comfortable practicing with both hands. It's not like writing. You can easily move between hand and hand. It's not a really technical thing to do it if you're right-handed, to use your left hand, or vice versa. I happen to be left-handed, so obviously I'm more comfortable with my left hand, but I can easily do right-handed with no problems. I'm going to start on that side of the vehicle. Again, it doesn't really matter. One key thing to remember is if you're doing it with 2 people, let's say you're a shop and you've got guys working, the best strategy for 2 people is start in the middle. One person starts, and then the other person goes right on top of them, right next to them, and you work from the center out. So when you have 2 people, you work from the center out. When you have 1 person, you start on one side and you work to the other. We're going to try and show you guys as best as we can, but again, my applicator is held properly, and I'm working essentially from this side all the way over. And each time I come in, I'm going to come in, I'm going to slide in. That's kind of the best way to explain it. I'm going to slide in and come down and then slide that way. And so essentially I'm just kind of pulling any contamination that might come, I'm kind of pulling it off with every single pass. and I'm never going back onto an area that I've already done a pass on. So that's really, really key. So let me show you, if you come over here, I'm going to show you what I mean by that. I'm going to put a little more product, and we're going to start this panel. I'm going to move with a purpose, but I'm not hurried or rushed to get this done. So I'm going to start right on the lower side of this body line, and I'm just going to slide in, and now this is my pass. So I did my entry, and I'm going to slide out, and I'm feeling that. So a lot of people might have missed that area, but I felt I'm using my hand to feel that. So I've done that. So now if you watch, I'm going to slide in from a little bit off because I've applied this area. So I don't want to just put my applicator down. I'm going to slide in. I'm going to go all the way to the edge. I'm going to do an overlap. There's always about a 50% overlap on your previous pass. So you can see I've got a little bit over here that I haven't done. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up top. I'm going to hold my applicator and I'm going to go in all the way and then move off. And you see how I gripped it with my thumb. Okay, so now I'm looking over my work. I don't see any missed spots. I see those nice thick lines. That means I have enough product on my applicator that the product's going to self-level properly. So now I'm moving on to the area that is a new section technically up top. But I want to look at that body line just to double check, did I get any drips? No, I didn't. So that was done well. So now I'm going to just move across. And again, I don't want to lean onto this. So if you can see, my product is right here. Okay, I'm going to come in from off it. So I'm going to come in and then down and then out. Okay, so let's go nice and slow. You see how I just set it down that way? Now I'm on my pass. Now you can't come back. If you see an issue over here, you can't come back and fix it now. You're way over here. So that's why every pass, I like to take 10 seconds, 5 seconds, look at it, and every single pass or every 2 passes, I'm reloading just one line from top to bottom down my applicator. Now, if you watch right here, I'm going in where there's no product. I'm going to the top of the line, and I'm pulling a 50% overlap of my previous pass. I've got nice thick lines that are going to level out. What a lot of beginners do is you need to exaggerate your movement. So a lot of beginners will not make it to the top of a panel or to the bottom of a panel. They'll pull off too soon. So I'm going to go up. I feel that body line at the top of the hood. There's my pass, and then I'm kind of pushing it over. And at the very bottom, once I get to here, that's where my thumb comes in and grabs that applicator. Beginners tend to have a lot of issues with their applicators getting kind of discombobulated and out of whack. So it's really good to refold your applicator if you have an issue. So you see, I'm going in right here. I'm not going in over here where I have product. I'm going in right here. There's no product. I'm going to do a swooping turn, and now I'm on my pass. So this is my pass, and now I'm on my exit. So you have your entry, then you get on your pass, and then you have your exit. So let's try that again. And you see I'm moving with a purpose, but I'm not rushing at all. See, I have my pass. Here's my pass, that 50% overlap, and then my thumb comes in, pulls it off. So let's keep moving here. I'm always watching this panel. I don't want to get any shirt stains or anything. 50% overlap going out. So now I'm starting to stretch. So maybe I'll switch hands. Actually, let's go back and we'll try one more, reaching over carefully here. So I could even go down up here. I could enter right here where there's no product, and I could enter right here. So let's go right here, come up to the top of the hood, and now I'm on my pass. And now here comes my exit. Swoop, grab. Let's put a little more product on, and let's see if we can reach one more without screwing this up. So now no product. Now I'm going to swoop in. Now I've lined it up with a 50% overlap, so I'm on my pass. Just regular medium pressure. I'm not pressing anything too hard. And now I'm going to switch hands, right? And I've got the same idea with my thumb. Get a nice amount of product. So it is more difficult, but see how I go in? I've got my pass, my thumb is right here. My thumb's gonna come in, scoop and grab. Very simple. It's simple, but it gets complicated when you don't know what you're doing, you don't have the confidence. 50% overlap, I pull out. Let's add more product. I'm in the habit of doing it every pass. Just a little bit, I'm not overloading it. And what you want to look for are these thick lines. It looks ruffly and wavy, and those are all going to disappear within minutes, and the product is going to self-level. So here I come down. I went all the way up to the top of the hood, 50% overlap. My thumb's going to come in, grab it. I'm feeling for those edges. Where a beginner makes a lot of mistakes, I see when I'm training, is they'll pull off too soon. And so my hand on top of my applicator is feeling for the edges of the panel. So let's go in, thumb comes up, nice smooth pass, and I'm going to pull off easily. So I'll show you what it looks like at a more normal speed. And you can see I'm getting towards this other body line. So I'm going to have to start thinking about my transition to this other part of the body. And I might switch hands and go from the bottom to the top of the hood that way. That's no problem. See, now I'm pulling it off. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back in right here, and I'm going to reverse it to try and get this top area all the way to the edge, and now I can just run it all the way down and out. So that comes with time. And I got a little drip right here. You can almost not see it. There's a little product, and that's because that's where that body line is. So what I need to do is I'm going to go down and then pull off. And it's completely gone. So that's why I knew from experience that this was a point of interest that I needed to look out for. I'm not so worried about that over here. And luckily I saw that because I knew it was a body line and I caught it. So now let's finish it out. Now we're on the bottom side of that body line, going all the way to the edge. And I can touch a panel that's not been done. So you don't need to worry about touching this panel. It's totally fine to get product on a panel that you're still have yet to do. Now we got one more pass here, guys. We'll go all the way down, scoop up that last area. And I even had a little mistake right here, and it's already leveled itself out. And that was just a kind of an improper movement there for a second. But I'm really happy with that. Now I'm just going to let the hood relax, okay? I'm just going to let the hood level itself out over the next 10 minutes. I'm only looking for drips or missed spots or things like that. If you have a missed spot over there, you can't reach back over and go get it. You're going to put a huge streak in your panel. You're going to have to strip the whole thing, pardon me, and start over. So every pass you need to analyze and you need to exaggerate. Make sure you feel the top of that hood. Feel the bottom of that hood so that you know you got the product and you don't have little missed spots. Take your time, move slowly, and you can see that you're going to get a really nice result when you do that. The last thing I'm going to do to finish out the hood, just to get it out of the way, so I don't have to worry about it. I'm going to take that, get rid of it, let my hood relax, and we're done with the hood. So that's how you apply a hood. As you can see here on my applicator pad, this was the paste I was using. Barely any contamination on my applicator pad. That's what you want to see after a panel. You want to see barely any or no contamination so that you can know that you had a really clean surface. That's good feedback. So I'll see you guys in the next one. We're going to jump to a new panel in the next video. Thanks for watching.